So you've got this great idea for a mobile app. Awesome. But then you hit this huge wall right at the start. What do you actually build it with? This one choice, it can honestly make or break your entire project. But don't worry, today we're going to make that decision a whole lot easier for you.
You're all fired up, ready to build the next big thing, and bam, you're staring at three totally different paths. You've got Flutter, you've got React Native, and then there's going fully native. And man, everyone has a strong opinion on this. So the real question is, how do you cut through all that noise?
Okay, let's just get one thing straight right from the top. We are not going to sit here and argue about which language has prettier syntax. Semicolons, curly braces, who cares? That stuff is totally irrelevant. What we're going to talk about is what actually matters. The full developer experience, the tools, the community, the real-world trade-offs you're going to face way down the line.
All right, first up, let's tackle the big one, the topic that starts all the flame wars online, performance. We're talking about how fast, how fluid, how snappy your app feels in a user's hands. Let's just dive right in.
So if you think about pure, raw speed, there's a really clear hierarchy here. It's like a performance ladder. At the very top, the gold standard, you've got native development with Swift or Kotlin. Can't beat it. Just one rung down, you'll find Flutter. And then, a little further down, you've got React Native.
So why the difference? What's going on under the hood? Well, it really all comes down to how your code talks to the phone. See, Native and Flutter, their code gets compiled directly into the phone's own language. Super fast, super efficient. React Native, on the other hand, uses something called a JavaScript bridge. Now just imagine a little translator constantly running in the background. Your JavaScript code has to be bundled up, sent across this bridge to the native side, translated, and then the response has to come all the way back. Every single trip, no matter how fast, adds a tiny bit of overhead. And those little delays, they can add up.
Okay, so native is the fastest. End of story, right? Let's all just build native apps. Well, not so fast. This is where things get really interesting, because you have to ask the question, how much does that little extra bit of raw performance actually matter for the kind of app you're building?
I mean, think about it. React Native is technically the slowest of the bunch, so you'd think it would only be for like simple little apps, right? Wrong. Check out this list of companies using it. Discord, Coinbase, Tesla, even Facebook. Now, be honest, have you ever been using Discord and thought, man, this JavaScript bridge is really slowing me down? I'm going to guess no. And this proves a really, really critical point. For most apps out there, that theoretical performance gap just doesn't matter in the real world. Fast enough is truly, well, it's fast enough. And that idea of good enough leads us straight into the next big factor, which is development effort. Because performance is just one piece of the puzzle. The other massive piece is how much work is it actually going to take to get your app on both iPhones and Android phones? And this right here is the killer feature of frameworks like Flutter and React Native. If you go native, you're not building one app, you're building two. A completely separate app in Swift for iOS and another one in Kotlin for Android. That's two code bases, maybe even two teams. It's double the overhead. But with a cross-platform solution, you write your code once and it just works on both. For a small team or a startup, this isn't just nice to have, it's an absolute game changer.
Okay, so we've got performance on one side and development effort on the other. But there's a third, super important piece to this puzzle, community and the whole ecosystem. Because let's be real, you are absolutely going to get stuck. You're going to hit a weird bug, you're going to need to integrate some third-party service, and when that happens, you're going to need some backup.
And just speaking from experience, this is where Native and React Native have a really big lead. They've just been around longer, their communities are huge and mature. You can pretty much guarantee that whatever problem you run into, someone else has already solved it on Stack Overflow. And there's a library for almost anything you could possibly want to do. Now, Flutter's community is awesome and it's growing like crazy, but it's not quite at that same scale yet.
Let's make this tangible. Here's a real-world scenario. Let's say you want to add product analytics to your app, to see what features people are actually using. And you decide to go with a popular tool, Post-Hod.
Okay, so if you're building with React Native, you go look and boom, there's an official library built and supported by the Post-Hod team. It's got all the features, it's always up to date. Perfect. Now, if you're building with Flutter, you'll also find a library. But this one is maintained by the community. It's probably great, but it might be missing a few features, or maybe it's a version behind. It just doesn't have that official seal of approval. And this kind of situation is something you'll see pop up pretty often.
But there is a huge exception to this, and it's a big one. Since Flutter is a Google project, it gets the royal treatment for any other Google product. So if you're planning to use things like Firebase for your backend, you can bet your bottom dollar that the Flutter support is going to be absolutely top-notch.
first class, official, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked performance, we've talked development effort, and we've talked about community support. So how do you put all that together and actually make the call?
This little table here really lays it all out. On one end, you've got native. Top-tier performance, huge community, but you pay for it with a ton of development effort. On the other end, React Native. Super low development effort, massive community, but it's at the bottom of the performance ladder. And then right in the middle, you have Flutter. It's kind of the best of both worlds option. Better performance than React Native, still low development effort, but the community is just a little bit smaller.
So, at the end of the day, there's no single right answer here. Anyone who tells you X is always the best is just wrong. There's only the best choice for you and for your project. It really just boils down to one simple question you have to ask yourself. For this project, right now, what's more important? Is it squeezing out every last drop of raw power with native performance, or is it the sheer speed and efficiency of building fast with a cross-platform framework? Once you answer that, you'll know exactly which way to go.